You know what this reminds me of? Have you ever seen any Big Bang episodes where he does it's fun with flags?
Yeah.
That just popped in my.
That is kind of funny.
Get our serious faces on here.
This is Kristen with Living Able, and today I have my friend Clay here with me.
Hello.
He is going to help me with just kind of a discussion that I wanted to ask him about. But what I wanted to do is to talk with my friend Clay here, who is a full-time power wheelchair user. And if he thinks that I would be a good candidate for a power chair, or, you know, just what's going on with that. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Clay, and say, you know, what goes through your head when somebody suggests that I get a power chair?
First of all, I'd like to say how wonderful it is to be here with my friend. I have a couple of things that pop into my head about this. Just on face value, because I have seen Kristen maneuver up ramps and different things, and as we all know, almost no chair or almost no ramp is ADA compliant. You can always find something wrong with almost every ramp that is ever constructed. So, I think two things. The first thing I think, just from a compassion point of view, is, man, that must be difficult. You know, and I think I have even suggested to her, just out of compassion for, you know, that she might want to consider investing in a power chair. But then, when I step back from that, I think, you know, for somebody with her mobility level, although when people say that out of compassion, they don't take into consideration, I feel, that it is her ability to push herself and keep herself strong that enables her to keep her level of mobility for different things like transfers and things. Upper body strength is very, very important when you're dealing with transfers and different things. And although I have been able to cultivate some upper body strength, Kristen is able to do a lot more with her upper body than I am physically able to. So, although I think most of the time those statements are made out of concern, I think some of that comes from just ignorance and not understanding your level of mobility and what shape you have to keep your body in to be able to do some of the things you do.
So, if I were to use a power chair, how would that change my life? What are some different things, you know, that I'd have to think about that maybe I don't have to think about with this chair? Or
well, power chairs are mostly good for long distances, long stretches of time. Meaning, take a large stretch of land, okay? You know, just open ground. Power chairs are very effective if you're not dealing with smooth terrain, like a paved road or something. I would feel much more comfortable going off-road, as they say, with an electric chair than a manual chair that I have to push, because the power chairs are designed to take more punishment, let's say, and you can go off-roading a little bit easier with the power chair, and it doesn't require any physical exertion or any physical energy on my part.
Mm-hmm. So with my wheelchair, I find that if I try to go on grass or whatnot, I have to look for holes, and sometimes, depending on the front tires, if I hit a hole just right, I can literally, like, my chair goes forward. Do you find that with these wheels, or?
Depends on how big the hole is.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, that most dips
mm-hmm.
or indentations are not a problem.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And also, at what speed I am traveling when I encounter the indentation
mm-hmm.
or hole. Yeah.
How fast and slow can your chair go? What are the speeds? Do you know?
I know that in my chair you have 10 speed levels.
Wow.
But within every level has 10 levels. Meaning that the first setting has 10 different speeds.
Wow.
And the next level has 10 different speeds, and the next and the next. Can you see the little gold dots
mm-hmm.
here on my chair underneath my power grid here?
Mm-hmm.
Every one of these dots here, I'll do it like so I can make a visual point. You
mm-hmm.
see that first dot? That represents one of the settings. And within that setting there are 10 speeds. Same thing if I do this. The next dot has 10 levels of speed. See, so all of these represent different levels that each have different levels of speed, and I'm not sure what they're all set at. I know that they're set pretty low, or else I would not be able to maneuver around inside a house very well.
How many hours does your battery last?
And it depends on how much use and how much speed. If I go every second of the day at top speed, it'll last me 4 or 5 hours at top speed if I was just booking it 100% all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But because I don't go at top speed all day every day,
mm-hmm.
I can usually make it last 48 to 72 hours between charges. They're rechargeable. Yeah, they're rechargeable.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever have to get a whole new battery, like in a car?
Every 4 or 5 years, they'll tell you.
Do you get a whole new chair, or do you just get a new battery?
New batteries. Although if you're talking about chairs, they tell you about every 8, 9, 10 years.
For a new chair?
Yeah, you might.
Now, alright, so going faster, obviously, and going longer distances is a positive for using a power chair.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Any other, like, positives that you can think of for somebody with my, level of ability? Or?
No, faster and more and longer distances is pretty much the only two benefits that the primary benefits that I could see. So that leaves me with the negatives. A muscle is a very strange thing. If you don't use it, you lose it. Meaning that muscles will shrink just as quickly, or probably even more quickly than they would if you're able to build them up.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to lose muscle mass by inactivity than it is to gain it by physical exertion.
Mm-hmm.
That's why bodybuilders and people that depend on their bodies being in good shape for a living have to work out almost every day.
Mm-hmm. I know when I was in the hospital in September, I mean, I was just stuck in a bed for 4 days, and I was in so much pain, like, to get out of the bed, and and I had lost so much strength after those 4 days. So, I can't imagine, using a chair like this all the time.
Over years, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The primary reason that my parents got me my power chair to begin with was so that I could get to and from classes inside a school building. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't have to have somebody push me from one end of the school to the other. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was a tool to give me more independence. Whereas for you, because you have a level of strength already, because you have been pushing yourself your whole life, whereas the power chair granted me independence, it would eventually hinder yours, in a sense.
I have heard that people in power chairs can't go outside in the rain, or how does that, if you have plans for the day and it's pouring rain outside?
I mean, they tell you that power chairs cannot function in the rain. Mm-hmm. They'll tell you that, mm-hmm. I think, just to cover their own butts. But I have found that the rain really has never been a problem for me. The only time that I could see it really being a problem is if you were stuck out in the middle of nowhere and you had no shelter, mm-hmm. or anything, and it started pouring down and you were in the rain solid for a week. Then I could see the chair being waterlogged and damaged. But when you're just going from your house into a van, into a building, I graduated from college, grad school, and, I couldn't beg out of classes because of the rain. So, I have definitely put this chair and other chairs through its paces. Mm-hmm. Now that doesn't mean that you should go out in the rain consistently and be stupid about it. Mm-hmm. But if you're just going from point A to point B, mm-hmm. The rain should not be a problem. Okay,
well that's good to know, because I honestly thought, you pretty much have to cancel most of your plans unless you had your car right up, at your garage, and you could get, in and not get, wet that way. So that's good to know. I think that's a big myth. At least it was for me. Yeah. Now, I would assume that you have to go somewhere in your own van, because this thing looks very heavy, and so it wouldn't be easy, or possible probably for your friends to just put it in their cars and
no.
things like that. So that would probably
no. I have to have. That's why I actually do have a manual chair, like yours, that can be folded up and put in a car for when my van has to be fixed, mm-hmm. and I absolutely have to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So.
Yes, that would definitely be something to consider, while I have a van now. If I wanted to go traveling with my friends, it wouldn't be very easy. They'd have to push me in another chair, or, I'd have to, if I had a chair like this, and if I was still able to push my chair at that point, depending on, my muscles or whatnot, that would be something to have to think about.
I mean, like I said, I would encourage any of you that are considering getting a power chair, that you still, at least some every day, still push yourselves around simply to maintain mm-hmm.
Level
of functioning and mobility. Mm-hmm. So you don't lose the ability that you do have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So now, I know when I go visit somebody, so I get there in my van or whatever, and I go visit somebody, whether they have one step or several steps, especially if it's only 1 or 2 steps, it's fairly easy to tip me back and, you know, pull me up the steps or whatever else. Is that possible with this chair?
No.
That's why you have to use the manual chair.
That's when I have to. That's another reason I have the manual chair. So when I go to visit people that don't have an accessible house, it is possible to put me in a manual chair and like you said, tilt me back and get me up.
Did you have to fight with insurance to be able to get both a manual and a power chair?
I believe my parents did.
I'm assuming that if you're only using it part-time and you already have a power chair, they might kind of be a little more difficult and whatnot.
Right.
So as far as the cons go, we talked about, you know, losing your muscle mass and also not being able to, like, maybe go to friends' houses without getting in a manual chair, which I may or may not be able to push at that time, depending on how long I've been using the power wheelchair.
Yes. So for you, getting a manual chair, or getting a power chair, excuse me, would pretty much be ridiculous. You know, for somebody with your mobility, it's just absolutely ridiculous to do that. And, you know, unless you're able to have both.
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot, and it's good to know because I kind of felt the same way. I felt personally that when somebody tells me that I take it and know how hard I've worked to be as independent as I am, I take it as if, you know, they're telling me to give up my independence, which obviously I know that's not really what they're saying.
No.
Because they just don't know. There might be a time when I'm older that I may need a power chair, so it was good to have this conversation, and I might, you know, need it one day. Right, it would be very hard for an older person to go from fully able-bodied to a manual wheelchair and then to a power chair, like, I mean, because they would have to build up the body strength, and it's just not worth it at that point to do it. So I completely can see how somebody telling me that, where it would be easier and better for their parents or whatever to do it. So I understand it from that perspective as well.
Yeah, they, and like I said, it just depends on your situation. And for somebody like you that has upper body strength to the point where it enables you to be independent, it's just silly for you to say, "Oh, I'm gonna give up the my manual chair to go for what's easy." What's easy is not always what's best. Except for somebody like me, you know, it's good to reiterate, it's good for somebody like me who for me a power chair represents independence and freedom, whereas for you it would represent the exact opposite. And so everybody is different.
Yeah, definitely.
So
it's that's why it's important to know the person and whatnot before you go and necessarily say something, you know, like that and make that assumption. So I completely understand that. Anything else that you would like to tell the Living Able viewing audience, you know, while I have you here with me today?
Just like to say, everybody should desire to want to make the best of their life. Do your best to push those depressed feelings aside and really focus on what you're able to do instead of what you feel you're not able to do. The environment that we're brought up in plays a huge role in that, but beyond what we're raised with, you can overcome what anybody has told you. I love busting people's boxes as far as what they think people with disabilities are able to do. I love it because, you know, I can't tell you how many teachers always said, "Oh, you're never gonna graduate high school," And that was, oh, you'll never graduate college. And then, oh, you'll never get your master's degree. And oh, you'll never get married, you'll never have kids. All of those things that I just listed, I've done by the grace of God. So, and anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself.
Thank you, Clay. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. I wanted to address this question that I get asked so often, and it can be a little irritating, but I wanted to talk to my friend here to see if I was seeing things in the right way, or if I should look at it a different way, because I could totally be wrong and that kind of thing. So I'm glad to have him over today and have this discussion. Please don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow me on facebook.com/livingable to see the rest of the videos that I post, and also to keep up with other discussions that we have.
And don't forget to like the video as well.
Yes, thumbs up the video. Have a great day. Bye.